Somebody asked, do you regret moving from Cuenca to Salinas? Well,
they said you're going to regret it or something like that.
They predicted we would regret it. I think I know what they're saying. I think they're trying to say, well, you were probably better off over there. But talking about regrets, the issue I have with such a word is that regret promotes the idea that you're sorry that you did something that you wish you hadn't done, and that therefore you would be happier if you wouldn't have done it, but you have done it. And in the case of something that's irreversible, I understand that. The point is that this is not an irreversible situation. Clearly, we moved to Salinas, we could easily move back to Cuenca. But the real question is, why would I regret something that's not irreversible? Well, it was more of a get out of Cuenca thing, but it wasn't all 100% get out of Cuenca. Clearly there was a pull to live at the beach. So we're just walking on some of these side roads. So not all the side roads have the vicious dog. It's just that they sneak up on you, they come up around the corner. You don't ever know when they're going to do it. So being super careful here. So yeah, having a regret would promote the idea that it's some sort of a internal feeling of sorrow. In other words, why would you be sorry about something that you can reverse? It's not a question of putting your things back in a truck and moving to Cuenca. There's no impediment. There's nothing getting in the way of making such a choice. So yeah, it was a choice to leave Cuenca because of the fact of who we are. It applies to us. It doesn't apply to everybody. Everybody has different circumstances. The bottom line is there is no regret, because the regret would make no sense. If we really wanted to go back to Cuenca, we would. The thing is that we don't want to. So where does that leave us in our journey here? Where it leaves us is that we're in God's hands, because our goal is simply to get away from a situation that is hurting us. But what happens when you get into a situation, out of that situation, and then you get into another situation that's still hurting you physically? I wouldn't attribute the parasite issue 100% to Salinas.
Oh no.
We think we had them for a long time in Cuenca and didn't know it.
These parasites, these same ones, are worse in places in Asia, like Philippines, Cambodia.
Well, you can Google endemic parasite map or whatever, and it's a common issue all over developing countries. So I'm not saying that the situation isn't aggravated in Salinas. It is, because you can't even drink the water. But I think we weren't in the clear, is what I'm saying, just because we were in Cuenca. So it doesn't matter where you're at in Ecuador or Mexico or Panama. It doesn't matter where you're at. You're going to have this kind of issue eventually that you have to deal with. And we are dealing with it. It takes effort, and it takes stick-to-itiveness, and it takes a positive resolve, and especially when you're on a budget. So thanks for sticking with us. So these are some of the things that come into my mind. I don't know what comes into other people's minds. You know, after you're living abroad here in Ecuador or anywhere. I've got to run a few errands here. In the Middle Ages, it was fashionable to declare that 40 years old was the end of your life, meaning that's about how long people lived. Thanks to the lower hygiene standards of the time. Buenas, ¿cómo está? when you look at how in the Middle Ages people died at 40 years old, over in the Caucasus Mountains people were living up to 100, 105, 110, 115 years old on a regular basis. So that's like 3 times as long of a life. That's a big multiple for length of life, 3 times as long. So clearly a different way of living is very important. It's part of the historical record that life expectancy was around 40 to 45 years of age during the Middle Ages. Interestingly enough, access to ancient knowledge was also restricted during that same period under a Latin language that nobody could understand, and so there was a lot of lack of knowledge. Yes, lack of knowledge is directly related to how knowledgeable people are about the good book and what it actually says, not what other people tell you that it says. Anywho, have a wonderful day.